What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of exciting news to go over here this week, but before I get into the news, I first want to mention I'll be doing my usual weekly live stream at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night here, so join if you can. It's always a fun time hanging out and talking cars with all of you. And I also want to just give you all a huge thank you for the amazing showing of support in last week's live stream and just all the comments on the bullet video that I posted after last week's update. I really appreciate it once again. I apologize if I haven't been able to answer everyone's comments because there's been, I think at this point, over 1,600 of them. But just know that I've been reading them. I very much appreciate every one of you and all your support. And thank you all so much. It really just blew me away this past week, and I'm so appreciative and so thankful. But anyway, getting into the news here this week, Subaru is once again breaking the hearts of enthusiasts here by announcing that the WRX Sportwagon, available in other parts of the world already, will now be coming to Mexico, but still not the US or Canada. And this is really weird. So, obviously the nice thing too is it's also like the perfected version of the WRX where they actually painted the cladding and found some extra paint to put on the back bumper as well. It's like, wow, what a crazy idea. So, it looks better too as a result, but this is weird because if they can justify selling it in Mexico where it almost certainly is not going to do remotely close to the amount of sales it would do in the US or Canada, why Mexico? They have looser crash test regulations, but this is also sold in Japan and other European countries where I believe there's going to be pretty equal crash test standards to what we have in the US. So I just don't get it. I don't understand what the holdup here is. Maybe you could take this as a positive sign that maybe this is a hint that it is going to make its way to the US and Canada also relatively soon. I just really don't know. And if Subaru is concerned about U.S. buyers needing a bunch of cladding all over a wagon to all of a sudden be like, wow, that's great, sell it to me, then they could always just lift it up an inch or two, put some cladding on it, and call it the WRX Wilderness. I think people would still be excited about it. Even myself, I don't love the Wilderness stuff from an appearance standpoint, but if that's what it takes to bring the WRX wagon here, fine. So I don't know if Subaru has anything in the works or if this is just them, just deciding to pour salt in the wound of everyone that's still sad about the STI leaving and our lack of Lavorg or WRX Sport wagons here in the States. But anyway, so if you are in Mexico, congrats to you. And for anyone that lives near the Mexican border, if you're used to seeing Mexican cars, if you see WRX wagons, don't get excited. They're only from Mexico, at least for now. Another car that is awesome, but unfortunately will most likely be forbidden fruit is the Toyota SFR. So if you remember a long time ago, there was a concept that came out in 2015 of like a smaller, kind of GR86 type of thing. And so Japan's Best Car magazine posted a story that was translated then by Forbes, which is what I'm going off of here. They're claiming that the SFR concept is actually going to make it to production in 2026 thanks to a partnership with Daihatsu and Suzuki. So it'll stick pretty close to the concept with the dimensions supposedly almost being exactly the same as a Miata, yet at least in concept form this would squeeze in a 2+2 arrangement and continue to be a coupe, although there's other outlets that are either incorrectly reporting or speculating this is maybe going to be a convertible instead. I'd love to see a 2+2 convertible from Toyota. I've been wanting a convertible GR86 ever since the FT86 opened like 10 years ago, that concept that came out. But anyway, as far as styling though, for this production version, they say it would be similar to the concept still, although Best Car says it'll have a smaller, tighter grille and more stylish headlights. But mechanically, it would run a 3-cylinder turbo that does 150 horsepower and rear-wheel drive supposedly. And Best Car claims that the hint that suggests that this is a legitimate thing that's happening is the fact that there's the Daihatsu Vision Copen that was shown last fall in Tokyo. So they said, that was a deliberate hint. Supposedly that car's roofline kind of closely matches up with that SFR concept and stuff. And that also, back in the fall, was very close to the Miata in size. And back then they claimed a 1.3 liter turbo 3-cylinder engine, which is a downsized version of the GR Yaris and GR Corolla motor, along with rear-wheel drive. And that's the rumor here, is that this would get a 1.3 for this as well. And so for the Toyota, though, Best Car claims that the price target, at least for Japan, would be just $22,700 at the current exchange rates. And they expect it to be sold in Asia and Europe, which I certainly agree. Europeans could definitely appreciate this, being low horsepower, small, all those types of things. Obviously, Asia would enjoy it as well. But as far as whether it comes to the US, that is still being debated. But back in the fall, Best Car asked Daihatsu why they made that Copen concept larger than the old one, which previously was a K car. It's not a K car anymore. And they said the idea behind the Copen was that if it were to be a full-fledged sports car away from a light car, demand would increase, including the possibility of export. That's it. So at least officially, the idea of exporting this thing beyond Japan is, something that they have in mind here, and they're hinting at that already. So, and again, I have no doubts, Europeans could enjoy it, lots of other people, but just, everyone already still complains about the Miata, even though Miata for this Indy 2 was fantastic. The engine is so powerful, feels so good. But, you still have a bunch of people that, don't want to spend this kind of money for 184 horsepower or whatever. And so, 150 horsepower in a sports car, like, half of the American enthusiasts won't even take it seriously, unfortunately. Personally, I'd love to see it, obviously, and could be actually like a consideration for a future car for me, potentially, especially if it's a 2+2 still. But, I wouldn't hold your breath for this one in the States, unfortunately, if it even comes at all. And beyond that, it's also worth noting this is the same magazine, although Best Car is, fairly reliable. They also had the outlandish claim just a few months back that a new GR86, a brand new generation, is coming next year, just 4 years after this new one we just got, and that would be spawning also a 4-door 350 horsepower hybrid version that would use the GR Corolla motor plus a hybrid thing for 350 horsepower in a 4-door GR86 that's coming in 2026 supposedly as well, according to them. I'd love to see it. Sign me up for all of this. It sounds amazing, but with those kinds of reports out there from the same magazine, take it with a grain of salt. Believe it when we see it kind of stuff here, but I'd love for them to be right about everything. That would be great. For some more future product plans, my friendly Mercedes dealer contact provided me with some interesting tidbits after a dealer meeting in Germany. But this is all speculation as far as what is being reported here. But the biggest news is that AMG is supposedly confirming that the V8 will be used in the coming CLE 63. Everyone had assumed, V8 was going away with Mercedes, slowly but surely, at least outside of the really high-end stuff. We're not seeing it in the C63, and even the E63 was assumed would probably ditch it. But supposedly it's confirmed here at this dealer meeting for the CLE 63. They also added that it'll be reserved for only this 2-door, and the Mercedes still isn't caving on the C63 decision to get rid of it there. But AMG reportedly told The Room about the CLE that you guys were begging for a V8, so here you go, which was met with cheering and applause supposedly at the dealer meeting here. Unfortunately, though, they wouldn't say anything about whether an E63 is returning or when it is. If it is, they didn't say anything about that at all. But the other things they did reveal were supposedly a next-gen C-Class and GLC that they showed there, which will go electric, but will be sold alongside the current gas versions, which is kind of stuff we've been hearing already. And those gas versions will continue to get updates, as the years go on. They also were shown supposedly a cool-looking new electric GT 4-door and the new CLA and GLA, which will offer over 300 miles of range for the electric version, but will also continue to offer a gas version. And much like the BMWs that we see out there currently, it'll be an identical car with your choice of either electric or gas, but they'll be all under the same kind of sheet metal there, so nothing unique. It'll just be the same kind of deal there. So I think that makes a lot of sense. As BMW has shown, it seems to work pretty well, and so good to see that Mercedes is most likely going to just follow them and give up on the unique, egg-shaped stuff and things like that. But anyway, so yeah, that's your little rundown here on the coming Mercedes models. Big thanks once again to my dealer contact, and yeah, we will have to wait for official confirmations for all this stuff, but certainly all makes sense to me. And for some more good engine news here, Mate Rimac confirmed during the Future of the Car Summit that the coming new Bugatti's V16 engine will be naturally aspirated and not use turbos for the first time on a Bugatti since before the EB110 of the 1990s. So I think prior reports were, suggesting this would have quad turbos just like in the past. but it's going to be naturally aspirated. I mean, it's a V16. Do you need turbos, really? Supposedly the motor on its own does about 1,000 horsepower already, and they did confirm it'll have hybridization as well to give you, even more power there. And so German magazine Auto Motor und Sport claims it'll be an 8.3-liter engine developed with Cosworth that revs to 9,000 RPM and can do roughly 1,000 horsepower on its own, like I said, along with 3 electric motors contributing a huge amount of power as well for roughly 1,800 peak horsepower total. It'll supposedly have also a 24.8 kilowatt hour battery for about 37 miles of WLTP electric range. They also claim a 2 seconds 0 to 62 mile per hour time, a 124 mile per hour time in under 5 seconds, 186 miles per hour will take less than 10, and 249 miles per hour will happen in under 25 seconds on its way to an electronically limited 277 mile per hour top speed. So, and you can assume that there'll be some type of super sport version or something someday that'll most likely try and make a run at the Chiron's record of, what was it? It cracked the 300 mile per hour mark for sure, but we'll see how many of these they end up doing, if they do a bunch of special editions, because sadly the report also claims they're only planning to build half as many of these as the Chiron, with only 250 cars planned versus 500 for that one. So 250 cars, I mean, it's still a lot of cars for a V16 engine, but obviously the more the merrier as far as the V16s. It'll be revealed next month, though, but man, I am so pumped to see that thing. It sounds like an awesome engine. Another supercar with a cool new engine that's going to be debuting this summer here is in August exactly, is the Lamborghini Huracan replacement, which we now know is coming in August thanks to their Q1 financial report confirming its arrival. And so, according to a new report by Autocar here, we have some more details thanks to their interview with Lamborghini's sales and marketing boss. And so he confirmed that it'll be an in-house developed V8 engine, not the same one we get from Porsche and what you see in the Urus and stuff, which is all just the Volkswagen, corporate motor. It's not going to be that. It's going to be something unique in-house because they're making so much money supposedly at Lamborghini. They can afford to do that. And it'll be paired with a plug-in hybrid system, which I'm guessing will be similar to the one you see in the Rualto. And he told Autocar that the package itself is much better than a normal ICE car. There are characteristics that you cannot achieve if you don't have an electric motor, such as active torque vectoring. It gives you the opportunity to leverage even more on the potential of the engine. And we didn't get much more than that from him out of the interview, but past rumors have suggested this motor is going to be wild, with supposedly having turbos, but the turbos don't come on until you're over 7,000 RPM, and that those will just kick in from 7 to 10. It'll have a red line of 10,000 RPM supposedly. Honestly, it kind of sounds, if it's a V8, it's got a high red line and all this, it sounds like it's just half of the Bugatti motor potentially with some turbos strapped onto it for fun. I'm sure these two motors are completely different, but kind of interesting. We got two high revving engines and one is exactly half the size of the other one. But anyway, yeah, very cool. Still wish it would be a V10, but I mean, it sounds like a very promising V8 still here for this Lamborghini, and looking forward to hearing more about that this summer. BMW has revealed the 2025 M4 CS this week, which gets all the same stuff as the M3 CS, meaning the 543 horsepower version of the twin-turbo inline-6, the xDrive all-wheel drive system, and an 8-speed auto that all combine for a 3.2 second 0 to 60 time and a 188 mile per hour top speed. It also gets the carbon fiber reinforced plastic for the hood, front lip, rear diffuser, center console, paddle shifters, and other components, combined with a lighter exhaust and seats to all add up to a 45-pound weight reduction compared with the regular competition version. There's also a retuned chassis and suspension that helps it to be only 1.5 seconds slower than the CSL around the Nürburgring. So CSL is, definitely still the top dog, but this isn't much far off. So that's pretty good. And so while it's cheaper than the CSL, it'll still cost over $35,000 more expensive than the competition version, starting at $124,675. That's assuming you can get it at MSRP or get one at all, because again, these are going to be highly collectible. They're not going to depreciate. So I guess that's obviously worth the price premium if you can actually get it for sticker. And also that's especially relevant considering that they're planning to build less than 2,000 units of these globally. I think there was just several hundred earmarked for the US here, so we'll see. But production is going to be beginning in July for those. So cool to see that. And one other quick BMW update here is that they have confirmed to Car and Driver that they're dropping the I from the end of their naming structure here on their gas-powered vehicles and reserving the I only for the electric ones that we see, you know, i4, i5, whatever. Those will be the other ones that have an I in their name anymore. And the first one to get this change will be the X3 M50 that's going to be replacing the X3 M40i, and all the gas-powered BMWs, you know, will follow along after that. But this ends a tradition that started back in the 1960s and stood for injected motors in the early 70s there and continued on ever since. And it's a long time to go with that naming convention, but apparently now buyers are confused when they see I on the back of a vehicle, that's, you know, the same as the I on the front of a name. I mean, I didn't have any problem keeping track of it, but I guess other consumers did, so they're dropping it there, and it is what it is, but that is officially happening, and so bid farewell to the I at the end of the BMWs there. Another nameplate that had a very long run and is coming to an end, sadly, is the Chevy Malibu, with the Detroit News claiming that production will end this fall in Kansas for the Malibu to make room for the new Chevy Bolt that's coming out really quickly because, you know, I think they realized a little too late that they had a really good thing going with the Bolt there in the end, and they want to get it back in action as soon as possible. So I guess that means sacrificing the Malibu, at least for now. Cadillac XT4 production, which also happens at that factory, will also even pause while they retool this factory, but that will resume production, you know, once that switchover is complete there for that one. And so this isn't official yet, so I'll save my toast for the Malibu until it's official, but I mean, man, it really would be a shame since it goes back to, you know, the 60s. And yeah, you know, there's rumors recently too of a redo, which is why this is a little bit confusing. It makes me wonder if this is the same kind of situation as the Camaro, where it's like, yes, it's discontinuing, yes, it's going away, but, you know, they have something in the works, hopefully for down the road. You know, I could see Malibu coming back as an EV at some point. You know, we'll have to see, because I mean, it seems like sedans, there's still a case to be made there, and that's the really strange thing about this current Malibu. It's the same kind of situation as the Bolt, actually. They're doing it again to themselves. Malibu last year, ever since 2021, it's been growing in sales pretty nicely, and it sold over 130,000 units in 2023. 130,000 units. That is not the kind of volume you walk away from in normal circumstances. I mean, I guess it really shows how high of a priority the Bolt is, but, you know, a paid-off, easy-to-build car that's just a cash cow at this point. I mean, you know, this is the way to profitability. That's what Dodge has been doing all these years. Toyota, you know, if you got an old model that is selling in the six-figure range, I mean, even if a lot of those go to rental fleets still need cars. They're still going to keep buying them. I mean, regardless, like, there's still some profit margin there, I'm sure, and it just blows my mind. Even this year already, I mean, we're just up to May when the most recent report was for sales, but they've already sold over 32,000 this year already. GM makes these bizarre decisions. Like, sure, yeah, putting out a new Bolt is great, but, you know, as we're seeing EVs and their interest is, you know, still, I mean, they're still growing with market share, but it's slowing that growth a little bit. You know, it just seems like Bolt isn't something that maybe needs to be rushed out right now. How about rushing out a plug-in hybrid Malibu? That sounds like a better thing. And there was talk about, you know, the Equinox getting a plug-in hybrid thing and that coming soon. And the Equinox just got its refresh. The talk was that the Malibu was going to get a similar refresh, get the new motor, and they could have slapped that plug-in hybrid powertrain in there. And, you know, they could have beat everyone to the plug-in hybrid sedan punch too, because Hyundai still hasn't done it. Toyota still hasn't done it with a Prime Camry or anything. You know, it just, I don't know what GM's doing. It just seems like there's a clear path to success, and they take the exact opposite one sometimes. I don't know. It's kind of a shame, but I'm sure all the sedan competitors are jumping for joy right now because they're like, sweet, they're walking away from 130,000 sales a year. And, you know, Honda, Toyota, Hyundai, everyone will be more than happy to scoop up those sedan buyers who seem to be very loyal. Seems like people who want sedans stick with sedans for the most part for a reason, and they will just go for a competitor, I think. There's a lot of good competitors out there. Malibu has never been the top one anyway, so you show those other buyers, hey, look what else is out there in the sedan world, and they're just going to happily go and buy one of those. So anyway, just another strange GM decision, unfortunately, and sad that it's at the expense of the Malibu's legacy here and that name dying away. And Kia has teased two debuts here this week. The first one is the production version of the new EV3 that'll be revealed on May 23rd. From what we can see so far here, it'll get taillights similar to the EV9, along with similar design language up front. We don't have any other details really, aside from seeing that the other international stuff like the EV5 will be downgrading to a 400-volt platform in order to hit a lower price point, which I still think is just like a goofy decision. Hyundai usually doesn't make these kinds of strange decisions, but downgrading from your best-in-class kind of platform to something that charges half as quickly is the exact opposite direction we need to be going. And also, like, you know, there's talks this thing will be between the $30,000 and $40,000 range, but like, it's not like the other stuff's expensive. I mean, if you look at like the deals right now on Ioniq 5 and EV6, lease deals for those things. I mean, EV6 leases right now are as low as $249 a month with $4,000 down. I don't mean to sound like a car salesman, but $249. I mean, yes, that's a decent chunk of a down payment. But I mean, Ioniq 6 they've been leasing for like $239 a month with $239 down. I think it's now even lower, but like a slightly higher down payment. Regardless, like stupid cheap leases on all this stuff. So you're not going to undercut $249 a month for a lease. Like, so I don't know why they think that, you know, these are going to charge so slowly, comparatively speaking, to the 5 and the EV6, that even if, you know, you are price sensitive, you know, what are you going to spend an extra $50 a month on a lease to, you know, get way faster charging if that's important to you? I mean, I don't know. I don't see these succeeding with this slower charging. That's not what people want. So anyway, we'll see. Hopefully they're great, promising little cars otherwise, but I just feel like they're going to be held back by slow charging if this turns out to all be true. We'll have to see. Speaking of the EV6, though, Kia has teased a refresh for it this week, which pretty clearly shows off the new lights front and rear, along with what seems like no rear wiper still, even though the mildly refreshed 2025 Ioniq 5 is now getting one, and seemed like an easy thing to add. I'm not sure why Kia is not adding that, but, you know, I think that's definitely needed in places where you have any kind of weather whatsoever. And also, you know, there's the talk of the larger 84 kilowatt hour battery that we see in the refreshed Ioniq 5. That'll most likely be coming here to the EV6 as well. There's no word on when this will be fully revealed though for this one, but I'm sure it'll be relatively soon. In some other somewhat affordable EV news here, Lucid CEO confirmed on an earnings call this week that a new midsize SUV will be coming in 2026 from them with a starting price of around $48,000. I'd safely just assume 50, but they also say it'll be built in high volume, supposedly, and the CEO said, "I'm confident that we can achieve unrivaled levels of efficiency for this crucial midsize class vehicle. And again, I can't stress enough, efficiency is the key to a smaller battery for any given range, and a smaller battery is a key element to lower cost when it comes to making an EV." And that's really the thing. I mean, I was at the Gravity reveal, and they went on and on about how efficient their motors are and how they get more out of an Electron than anybody else, really. And, you know, if they can continue to refine that, and that truly is the case here, then, you know, I wish them all the best. I think Lucid stuff seems to be really promising. I've never driven one or reviewed one, but, you know, it seems like they're on the right path here with, you know, trying to get the weight down, smaller battery packs. That's all the right direction, in my opinion, while also having that, you know, top-notch charging and all that. So wish them all the best. We'll see. Hopefully they make it to 2026 and can, you know, put out this vehicle. But also, Bentley has a few announcements this week. They were really busy at the Bentley PR department this week. So first, they revealed the convertible version of the Batur, which is one of the W12 send-offs here that are super rare. Only 16 of these will be built, and they get the same upgraded 740 horsepower version of the twin-turbo W12 motor, along with unique styling, wrapping a car that's based on the Continental GT. The main unique thing here for this convertible version is the air bridge there that replaces the rear seats, and of course you can do all kinds of customizations, and, you know, these billionaire owners can, you know, deck it out however they feel like decking it out. And so anyway, there's those. In other Bentley limited edition news here, they also revealed the Edition 8 models of the Continental and Flying Spur. These ones celebrate the end of the non-hybridized 4-liter twin-turbo V12, which is ending sooner than we thought, with production of European, UK, and Middle Eastern orders finishing in June, and North American orders ending a little bit after that. But these Edition 8s are only for North America and get special badging and unique patterns on the seats called palm fluting. And so deliveries will begin imminently, they say, and they're still planning to offer a hybrid version of every vehicle in the lineup before the end of this year, which means that the last one that currently doesn't have a hybrid version is the Continental. That should be getting an announcement about a hybrid Continental coming, you know, some point very soon here. And for the last Bentley news here this week, They showed off the engine that will lead their new electrification push here in the new generation of plug-in hybrids. And so this motor is called the Ultra Performance Hybrid engine, and Bentley didn't provide any specifics for it, but you can see it's got twin turbos there nestled into the V of this V8. And Bentley did promise more than 740 horsepower that you get from the Batur, along with 50 miles of electric range on the WLTP test cycle. And so this will likely be a version of the 4-liter twin-turbo V8 we see in Porsche and even the Lamborghini Urus. The new Urus SE, has this same plug-in hybrid with a twin-turbo V8 kind of thing. And so most likely it'll either match or come in slightly less than what the Urus SE does, which is 800 horsepower. So they got to be somewhere between 750 and 800, basically. So expected somewhere around there, but both of them would still be more than what the Porsche Panamera. The top version of that, I think, does 680 horsepower. Again, they're promising more than 740 here, so it'll be a punchy motor for sure, and should be promising. And based on the little sound clip that Bentley has also revealed here, it should sound pretty good here. Take a listen. So we'll find out more this summer about it, along with, how exactly it takes form in the Bentayga, the Continental GT, and the Flying Spur, whether this is just like, a straight engine swap, or whether this brings in like a new speed version of all those vehicles, or, what is going to be the case here. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, very interesting to see that. And for the last news story here this week, Rolls-Royce has revealed a refresh for the Cullinan called the Cullinan Series 2. And you can see it gets new headlights that now add a vertical LED strip, along with slightly sportier looking front bumper, an illuminated grille for the first time, and a new rear bumper. There's also 23-inch wheels available for the first time, and if you'd like to swap the brightwork for dark accents, the black badge version continues to be available on the Series 2. Both versions still use the 6.75-liter twin-turbo V12 that now does 591 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, which is 23 more horsepower and 37 more pound-feet of torque, but still clearly a very under-stressed motor, a twin-turbo V12 that's that big that doesn't even do 600 horsepower. But in the black badge, it gets a low mode that changes the tone on the active exhaust and makes shifts 50% quicker and reduces brake pedal travel. They still run an air suspension and rear wheel steering to help with the smooth ride and easy maneuverability. Inside, there's also now a piece of glass that goes across the dashboard and houses the new infotainment system and digital gauges, which look like they're from the Spectre there. And the passenger side gets illuminated with 7,000 laser etched dots that can display various designs, or a custom one if you so choose and decide to pay the extra for that. There's also lots of other crazy interior details in this thing, like the new gray stained ash trim that uses individually selected logs that are hand stained and have microscopic metallic particles added. And the whole process takes 4 years. Obviously, they've built up some stock here so that they, can install this in vehicles that are going to be debuting this year. But 4-year lead time there on making that, which is wild. The other insane statistic I'll highlight here is that there's a new cloth upholstery now available that was developed together with a master weaver, which I didn't realize was a thing, but a master weaver that they have brought on, and they are creating these interiors which require 2.2 million stitches and about 11 miles of thread. So really cool. I mean, the cloth and like fabric kind of, interiors are really coming back, and it's cool to see Rolls-Royce also trying that out here. And I'd be very curious to see how that feels. But anyway, there wasn't any pricing revealed for these because it doesn't matter to the people that buy these anyway. But, they just say that sales will be starting soon. But, a really nice upgrade and improvement there for the Cullinan, and long overdue too. I believe it's, 2018 is when they came out. So definitely needed it, and good to see that it's getting that. But lastly, I want to thank all of you that are members of the Maran Motoring Club. So we did have a lot of new members that joined this past week, a lot of them right after the Bullet video, which again, I really appreciate those who chose to support the channel here by becoming a member. It just blew me away, all the support this past week, so I'm so appreciative. So I want to give everyone a shout out here. So there's also a bunch of generous membership gifting that was done as well. So I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to MDKN, Kyle, the Truck and Car Guy, and Vincent Rowe, who all gifted memberships in last week's live stream. I really appreciate the support from all of you. And also, I want to give a big thank you also to Michael Clementi up north, Ben Dews, That Washer Nerd, Jaden Stepper, Tat J, Cesar Robo, Dylan Hughes, Stephen Foon, who joined twice with 2 separate accounts. Not sure if that was deliberate or if that was an accident. And also Mando Morales, who all joined this week on their own. I really appreciate all of you who signed up on your own to, again, support the channel. It really means a lot. I also want to give a big welcome to the new members that were gifted their memberships here. So big welcome here to Kevin Pazira Day, Jerry Rossetti, Matu C, Hayden Ron, Mikey R, Japing Wang, Stephen Miller Jr., B-Ry116, Jabbar, and Alex Robb. I hope you're all enjoying the membership perks so far. I hope those of you who got gifted a membership will consider sticking around after that trial period is over. But again, I just am so grateful for the just huge amount of support here this past week. It really does mean a lot. You know, I love doing the car reviews. I love doing these news videos. I don't want to, you know, stop doing this channel. And so, you know, the support from everyone really helps to add some extra stability there to these fluctuating views and, you know, fluctuating earnings all the time. And I really appreciate the support. We also did just add the Discord server this week too. So if you missed the member post, go to the member tab here on the channel page. There will be a link there to join the Discord. There's instructions on how to join it. Pretty nice and simple. Hopefully everyone that's been wanting to join has been able to join pretty easily. Definitely hop in there. We're already having some good conversations, having some off-topic conversations, some car conversations, and just having a good time. So definitely join in there and you know, get a full use of your membership there with all the features that we have to offer. So anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to keep these videos coming. Let me know your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.